Hello and welcome to the Chaifetz Center for Entrepreneurship Student Spotlight Podcast. Today we have Tori Hemingway on. Tori, give a shout.
Hey everyone, Tori Hemingway here.
So Tori, we're going to jump right in. Tell us a little bit about your year, your major, some background about what you're interested in on campus, what you're involved with. Paint us a picture. Who are you?
All right, let me get my paint spot. So, I'm a freshman this year. I am studying marketing and finance. I'm also into entrepreneurship. I'm part of the Entrepreneurship Club here at SLU. And then basically why I'm here is I have a business.
Okay, so I know you've had multiple businesses in your lifetime. So give us a timeline of like when you started and where you're at now with your business.
Okay, so I've had a couple of like non-official businesses whenever I was 9 and 10. So from the time between I was 9 and 11, I had a jewelry business where I made jewelry and I sold it to this shop down in St. Charles. For those of you who are from Missouri, you know what that is. And then once I turned 12, through the time I was 17 or so, I had a chocolate-covered strawberry and pretzel business. And I did that strictly on the holidays, made lots of money, which was cool.
That's so fun.
And then my first like official LLC business was the Purple Pineapple Designs. That's actually my current business that I started whenever I was 17. And it's basically like a monogram and decal type of business.
So what do you monogram? Is it stickers? Do you do like embroidery? For the listeners, what does that monogramming mean?
So basically, I just do the stickers. The actual machine to embroider is super expensive and haven't bought that yet. So it's just stickers, pretty much anything that you could possibly imagine, like I can do within like regulation of the law, but you know.
Yeah, so how has that been going? Where do you see it progressing in the future? Do you want to keep doing it?
So right now, I didn't bring my machine with me just because the first semester of college is like crazy. So I'm going to pick it back up really next semester and kind of start like advertising it here at SLU. But I don't see it as a very long-term business. Like I don't think this is where my career is going. But it's just kind of like a startup business, like to get me interested into the entrepreneurship world and kind of network with people, talk about my business, learn about their business, make those connections.
Yeah, so has that worked well for you, starting a business? Is that giving you all the experiences that you thought it would give you?
Yeah, it's actually so much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah, so basically the hardest thing about it was being able to know the paperwork and all of that to get a business going, and really I just hired a lawyer for that, so it wasn't that hard.
Wow.
And then like the actual work itself and like bookkeeping, like I've always been pretty organized, so it's not really that hard. So
wow, good for you.
And it's like something I enjoy, so that would definitely play a part into it. Like if it was something I didn't enjoy, I wouldn't be doing it at all.
So out of your 3 businesses, which one has been your favorite so far?
My favorite one to actually do was probably the jewelry, just because I liked the way like the jewels sparkled and everything, 'cause I'm that girl. The most profitable business to date is probably the strawberries, but that's just because I had it for so long. But definitely the monogram business is still growing, so I think that it'll end up being my most profitable so far.
Wow, that is crazy. So, as a college entrepreneur, how are you balancing it? So, I know you said you were kind of taking the semester a little lighter, but it's still like a bit your business. You're still the one managing it and keeping it going. So, how is that? What does that look like? A day in the life. How do you interact with your business while also doing your homework? And you said you have a job and like the clubs you're in. Oh, girl.
So basically it's order by order. So then I have I always tell people that I can bring out orders within like a certain amount of days, so that way I can give myself time to really schedule when I'm going to do homework that goes along with my work schedule and my club schedule. So really it's just giving time for everything and having good time management. That's all it is.
So for college students in general, especially students who want to have their own business and run a startup, what is your like life-saving time management piece of advice?
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one because like I definitely learned the hard way. I'm a procrastinator, like last minute type of person. So I really had to learn to actually make a schedule, buy that calendar, use those colored pens to actually get my life on track.
That's so super relatable because I feel like more times than not, you're talking to students and everybody's procrastinating. It happens. That's
True.
how a lot of us function. So mad props to you for getting under control. I hope you inspire some of our listeners.
I hope so too. Like, if you have any questions too, like, feel free to contact me. I'm sure I'll add contact information in the end, just in case you have any questions, because I want to be here for you and like help you guys if you are into entrepreneurship.
That is so awesome. Yeah, at the end of this podcast, we will definitely share all of Tori's social media and get that out there. So, for your monogram business, where do you pull your inspiration from? I guess for all your businesses. Like, what is your driving factor? Like, what inspires you to have your business and keep at it?
So, my driving force, like, this is totally not like some big love story or anything like that. It's basically just I really like money, and so I needed a way to do that on my own time rather than having like a scheduled job, which I have one of those too, but like I needed more money because I like to do more things, like fund more businesses and things like that. So it's really just the love of the game for money.
Oh my gosh, that is also super relatable. Oh my goodness. So if you had all the money in the world, what business would you fund today?
Honestly, it would probably be a business that had to do with like green, like fuel, energy, things like that. Because I think that's where the world's headed. Just because we're gonna end up running out of like fossil fuels and coal one day. So I think that's really where we're going, is like solar powered and like alternative fuels. So if I had the money and the brains, I would do that.
Is that where your passion lies? Like as you progress through your college career here and you kind of grow out of this monogramming business, like where do you see your passions developing, and like do you see yourself starting a green energy company? Or
So that's really, it's my social passion, but I don't have the drive to like create a business that would do that. So I want to do a business that would have a social responsibility, to basically like help people who do have the brains and that are willing to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I would basically just want to be like a fund contributor to those kind of people.
That's awesome. It definitely seems like that's the way entrepreneurship and business in general is going. Really like green focused, socially conscious, ethical businesses. That really seems like that's the trend nowadays. And it's attracting people our age, which is super awesome that you like already have your eye on that. Like you're already recognizing that trend, and
Yeah,
you're ahead of the curve a little bit there.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to have a startup right now that doesn't have a social cause or social responsibility aspect to it, just because people our age are wanting to help, and they might not have startups or be able to help in big significant ways, but this is a way that they feel like they can help, and they can help by helping someone who is helping, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, do you have a favorite social conscious startup that you follow? Do you follow any?
Not necessarily. Like, I don't follow a whole lot of startups just because of the whole time situation.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't follow a whole lot of things, honestly. Like, I keep up with what's going up on, like, in the business world and things like that, but not so much, like,
Not
as
with
much
startups.
as much as I should. I probably don't.
I mean, I don't think any of us do.
No.
I mean, props to you if you are following all the startups out there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Do you have like a favorite entrepreneur in general then?
My favorite entrepreneur in general, this is gonna sound so basic, is Walt Disney.
Oh.
Just because like he's so creative and like inspired this whole almost industry of his own. Like he didn't just start, like he started with TV and then movies and now theme parks and everything. So he's really created his own industry, which is awesome.
Yeah, his legacy is untouchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a pioneer that we could all draw some inspiration from.
For sure, for sure.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Right now, my favorite entrepreneur, I think, has to be Debbie Sterling. And she is an engineer, and she, like, quit her engineering job to make a line of children's toys specifically designed to bring, like, engineering skills into like the little girls' playroom.
Oh, okay. That's super awesome.
Her company is called Goldie Blocks, and it's so cute, and oh, she's like girl power all the way. I'm really in love with her.
That's literally, and that's a perfect name too. Like I said, I'm a marketing major, so like I'm in love with like names and stuff and like slogans and things.
What drew you to marketing? Is it just like your creative side? Is that what?
Yeah, honestly, it was my creative side. In high school, I was in DECA, for anybody who knows what that is. It's
for those who don't, give us like an overview of what that means.
Yeah, so it's basically like a marketing, entrepreneurship, finance kind of club, and we compete at the local, state, and international level, and there's multiple events. I usually did role plays, which is basically where you go in to a situation and you basically fix it using marketing. So that's
awesome.
Yeah. So it matched with my love for procrastination and my love for marketing. So
is that like specifically a high school program, or do they have it in college too?
So it's definitely a bigger program in high school, but they have collegiate level clubs. And what I've heard is SLU has tried to start them, and they are successful for a couple of years, and then they kind of die off. So it's just basically very fluid at SLU. So
yeah, ebbs and flows with the interest.
Yeah.
So you kind of segueing from that, you said that you're a part of the SLU Entrepreneurs Club, and I think there's only been one general body meeting so far, right?
Yes, it was last Thursday, actually.
How did you like it?
It was super cool. There's a lot of people this year. I feel like there's a lot of new people. I was kind of involved with the club a little bit in high school. For my junior and senior year, I was a part of the high school ambassadors, and we kind of almost did like a parallel line kind of thing to the Entrepreneurship Club, and we got people to do the competitions for the high school level, and we promoted Silicon Valley to high school students and things. So I was kind of involved for that time too.
Yeah, and so if you are tuning in and you don't know what Silicon Valley is, that is a big event that the Entrepreneurship Club puts on, and it brings together startups and big companies, and most notably free food, I think, is a huge draw.
The food's always good. It's always good.
Good food too, yeah. And then you spend the evening just networking with whoever you're interested in and getting to know people from the community, getting to know people from SLU. I know people have gotten internships there. There have been a number of really cool opportunities. So I know there is one coming up in November, I want to say.
November 1st. Yep.
November 1st. Oh, look, she knows. So we will definitely keep you all posted on when that's coming and share more information, because even as a high schooler, Tori was involved in.
Yeah, it's a super cool opportunity. Like I met so many businesses and people in the community and startups, and that's really where you can make a lot of your networking connections. If you've ever been to Venture Cafe, that's another cool spot to go for networking, and a lot of like those connections are who we invite to Silicon Valley. So highly recommend going to that too.
Okay, so your Venture Cafe experience, like give it to me straight. The connections you make, do you ever go back and use them, or?
So it kind of depends. So a lot of the connections that I made at the Venture Cafe, like I couldn't really use yet, just being in high school and not having the time, and making like the connections there wouldn't really help my business, and my business really couldn't help them. Networks are definitely like a two-way street. Like you can't just ask for things. But they're always in the back pocket, and the networks that you make and the connections that you do will definitely help like in the future. Yeah,
I feel like a lot of, especially like college age students, kind of shy away from those type of events just because, you know, networking can be awkward or it can be very overwhelming. And I've heard some people say, like, even if I do make a connection, I wouldn't know how to go about like using that connection. Oh, okay. So have you made a connection with someone and then have had the opportunity to go back and use them as part of your network?
Yeah, of course. So usually whenever I make a connection, I first like talk to them during the connection time. And then I usually get their business card, phone number, email, and I'll email them the next day or the next 2 days, give them a little bit of time so I don't look like a freak. And I'll email them, thank them for their time, let them know what I have to offer, how I want to keep this relationship going, and then every like 3 weeks, maybe like a month and a half, like somewhere in that range, I contact them again by email, just let them know that I'm still here, I'm still interested in like meeting with them, maybe go grab coffee or something. And sometimes it can be really scary because you don't know who you're networking with until after you're already like into the conversation. So
wow. Yeah, that takes a lot of bravery and practice. You can't just get it right on the first time.
No, I have looked like a total goon like so many times, especially whenever I was in high school and trying to network with these people because I didn't know who they were. I had never networked before, never been like stuck into this situation. But it's definitely helped me like learn what to do and what not to do as far as networking. Like I know more of like what to talk about. And
so give us an example of like what's a bad no topic that you have maybe accidentally brought up.
I think I noticed like talking about myself too much. Like you really want to get to know the other person, and so usually they'll ask you about you and you're so nervous, like the only thing you know to talk about is like things that you know and about you. So really kind of take that minute to introduce yourself, let them know who you are, and then stop and find out who they are and let them talk too.
Yeah, like you said, that two-way street thing is very important. Well, that's awesome. We will definitely gather some tips for networking to throw out there for you guys, because I feel like that is a super hard skill to even start learning. And then once you start, sometimes there's a learning curve that you kind of have to get over before you can like really, reap the benefits of what networking is all about.
Of course. And like with networking, every person's different that you're going to be networking with. So it's like reading a book. Every book is different, and you kind of have to learn how to read it to really understand it.
Yeah. Wow. So. Thank you for the insight. Okay, so this is completely changing gears from the networking talk and is a little bit more fun and creative. Tell me about your social media, because everybody has social media now. Businesses have social media, and some people use it great, and some people really let it flop. So tell us about your social media scene. Like, who are you on the internet?
So me personally on the internet, or the business on the internet?
The business.
The business. Okay, so the business, it's kind of hard to get followers as a business because people are like, I don't want to follow this random business. So what I do for my businesses is I definitely put my name there, contact information, things like that. And like I do scheduling posts. Facebook has where you can schedule posts, and Instagram and everything like that. They have where you can basically make a calendar. And so you don't actually have to go on and like post, it'll do it for you. You just have to set up the calendar. So that's been like a big help.
Yeah.
Didn't know that at first. And so I had a hard time keeping up with it. But I always post pictures of my products, like fun, like just tidbits about the business, like promotions, things like that. You can't always just like post selling posts because people get bored of it. You kind of have to keep what you're posting a little fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. So how is your Monogram business keeping it fresh? Like what are your ideas about cycling your content to keep it interesting for your followers?
So I kind of switch it up between posting new products, polls on people what they want to see, like new things that I'm thinking about doing, seeing like how people feedback. It's really all about customer feedback and what they want to see. So I'm really big on finding out what people want to see rather than just spitting something in their face like, oh, like this.
Yeah. And that's a problem I've seen with startups where they just use their page to push their product.
Yeah.
And that can be very overwhelming, especially if they think that that's their only way to market to people. So they like kind of overdo it.
Yeah.
So very, very wise. So young, so wise. Everyone take notes. So in terms of social media and business, do you have any pages that you look to for inspiration?
There's a couple of businesses like in St. Louis that do the same thing that I do, and I'll kind of like monitor what they're doing, like monitoring the competition.
Yeah.
Seeing like how they're getting likes and clicks and what they're posting and what they're doing. See what works, see what doesn't, so that way I'm not spending the money to do it myself and learn that something doesn't work, and I'm just kind of learning from others.
So what has been some of your most successful posts?
Successful posts are usually the ones that have a social cause with them. People love social causes.
Yeah.
I think my biggest one was whenever we had the hurricanes. I did like a Love Life campaign, and I made a bunch of like decals that said Love Life, and the O was the world. And like the whole idea behind it was that even though like people are going through bad times and like everybody's going through something different, there's always a way to like look and find something to make you love life. And so I sold those and then donated all of the profits to a high school down in Texas that was affected by the hurricane, to buy like things they needed because they just went through a hurricane.
Wow, that is so awesome. Wow, I really love that. I really love that.
Love life.
Yeah. There's a page I follow, it's Sevenly, which they used to do weekly causes, but now they kind of switched their model and they do monthly causes. And what they do is they take a cause, so whether it's like cancer awareness or like mental health or, you know, topics like that, and they create like a whole brand for a month of like t-shirts and other gear that they sell. And it's super trendy looking t-shirts. They're never just like words on a shirt. They always have this cute design.
Yeah.
And they do such a great job of like showing their product and then, you know, showing where the proceeds go and like hitting all different types of people so no one ever feels excluded from their page. They do so well.
Yeah,
I really love
sounds
it.
like really cute. If you can make a good t-shirt, like t-shirts are probably one of the easiest things to get into. Like the clothing industry is really easy to like make a startup just because everybody loves t-shirts.
It's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like they're really easy to design. There's so many like online resources and stuff.
And they're easy to sell online.
Oh, for sure.
I am one of those people, if I see an ad, I'm like, oh, maybe that's my next t-shirt purchase.
Same. Instagram definitely knows how to market to me.
Is Instagram your favorite social media?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, me too.
For personal use and for the business use.
Yeah. It's so fun and so like interactive. I think, I definitely think that's a great marketing tool, and it's great just for personal use too.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, we are just about done here. Nice, short, sweet podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. When we post this, we will be sure to include Tori's email and social media tags and anything else she wants to include, so you can get in touch with her and, you know, see what her product looks like out there on Instagram. Ooh, the favorite social media of the day. But other than that, Tori, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This was super cool and honored to be like your first podcast for the Entrepreneurship. That's awesome.
Yeah, so everyone tune in. Next month we will have a new student entrepreneur in the studio for the Chaifetz Center for Entrepreneurship Student Spotlight podcast. Thanks, everyone.